Hello, and welcome to another episode of playing Crusader Kings 3 using the hardest possible rule set, starting as the Duke of Champagne in 1178. Because of events that happened back in episode 2, we're currently unlanded, slowly driving toward building up our army and eventually getting a good piece of land, ideally either a large duchy or a small kingdom. I think that'll be the best in terms of a balance of having relatively high income while also not having a lot of vassals that might want to rebel against us. We are currently fighting a war while also completing contracts. You'll hear this Stand With Us contract. I see that the enemy is trying to take back the war goal. I think let's put a good general in our army and head down there and see if we can defeat them, keep the war goal in our allies' hands. Other than that, let's take a look to see if there are any contracts we could spawn. If not, let's go see if we can complete some contracts here. Get more gold, get more people in be our patron. Oh, I see. That's a lot of troops, unfortunately. I'll park there. Hopefully our allies will move with us. If not, then we may disband our armies and leave them to figure this out themselves. So just looking for the highest chances of success here to tutor this kid. Okay, well, looks like our allies are not interested in trying to keep this territory. So it does seem like doing contracts means I no longer have a general available. So I think we'll leave our allies to their fate. This is probably just going to be a loss. I assume I won't get any gold, but we'll see. Did finish the Educate Heir contract. Let's head back to our camp with our army. Just part of the consequence of a combination of playing on very hard and also playing in 1178 that the AI makes a lot more gold, has a lot more buildings, has bigger armies, and that means that fighting wars is going to be more difficult. So I have to acknowledge that and be more careful in terms of what wars we pick, especially when we eventually go for land. We're probably going to be fighting a very challenging war. Guess we'll have this guy join us. Go for this high chance of success. Proceed on. Don't really like diplomatic contracts because they give you a lot of prestige but not much gold. We are getting closer to being exalted among men. Don't want criminal contracts, even though we have gone down. We are an intrigue character, have an intrigue education, but which gives us some significant benefits with criminal contracts, but I don't really want to become gallows bait. Instead, continue on the straight and honorable path. Hire that guy. We'll just continue to take more contracts and build up our forces. I'm doing the landless or mercenary contracts. Generally go with the balanced option. That seems to give the overall best results. I guess if we get an alliance with this guy, it would be very helpful. I don't know if that'll be a possibility. See if we can get some more men-at-arms, or either gold at least. Like the other. Okay, we'll have to be fast, but we can make it to that tournament. Start another building here. Makes the most sense to increase the power of our knights. And we'll see whatever we can do to speed up our route. Probably hire mercenary guards just for the travel speed. Yeah. Okay. Thankfully we did make it. Grand tournaments could be a very good source of gold and prestige. We have a lot of hostile looter experience. We've maxed out everything except bow, so we should do quite well at the tournaments. I generally don't sabotage anyone. Just knock him out. Avoid stress. Just looking for what maximizes our score here. There's no arcane knowledge or unusual tactics. Take another excellent female knight. Because we're playing on very hard, I believe knight effectiveness is reduced by 50%, which is obviously a whopping number. That said, we can get some bonuses from our camp and otherwise to increase their effectiveness, and by being landless, we have just such a quantity of knights that they really should help us in wars. As we just saw the prior war, They don't win all the time. Looks like that end of that war knocked us out of the tournament. That's unfortunate, but I guess it is what it is. We'll go on to find more contracts and proceed. That guy's a good enough knight to hire. Still have a quite high prowess, so this will be a bit risky, but I think we go hunt this criminal and just duel him to the death. Okay, so I got wounded. That's not good. But still, hopefully will be enough to kill this guy. Again, looking for options where the increase to my likelihood of success is greater than my increase of likelihood of injury. All successful there. Take this other hunt criminals contract as well. Again, we'll just take the somewhat risky option of diving right in and seeing if we can kill them. Check his prowess first. Yeah, it's 8, so hopefully this goes well. Did. Being a blade master helps. Seeing what we think the best option is here. Guess we can try that. Okay, we can't spawn contracts again yet, so do have a stand with us contract. You can see the armies are just quite large. Don't know that we'd be able to make much of a difference. Hopefully soon we'll have an army that's powerful enough to be able to get us some land and also take some of these more difficult stand with us contracts. See if we can get another grand tournament. There it is. We'll head out. Hopefully get more gold and fame. You can see we're almost to legendary figure, so we should get that here. And just looking for whatever maximizes our scores. This, I think I actually prefer lifestyle experience. We are making progress here, though it's quite slow. I think for those of you who have seen episode 2, there is simply nothing that could have been done to prevent us from becoming unlanded. Henry II had become a scourge conqueror and took over the Kingdom of France, where most of our holdings were. There was simply no way we were going to defeat him, either alone or in conjunction with our liege, the King of France. Then right after that happened, our last remaining county was occupied in a war between France and the Holy Roman Empire, and so we couldn't even raise our troops anymore. And then the Duchy of Upper Lotharingia then declared war for our last county, took it, and that was that. There was just no options, and that's part of what it's like to play on the hardest possible rule set. Is sometimes things are just going to go very badly for you. At that point, you're going to have to figure out how to come back, and that is what we are doing now. And, it's taking longer than I would like, but I do think we will eventually get there. Just a matter of when. We are a legendary figure, so that should help us with contracts and perhaps some other things in terms of maybe people more willing either to sell us land or help us in wars to get more land. But our goal here is certainly to become landed again. No real interest in playing landless the entire campaign. Talked about in prior episodes, my win condition is I believe I have won when I am indisputably the most powerful ruler in the land. I think that's going to be very hard to do if you're unlanded, and so we're looking to get some land somewhere, and then from there build up to become an emperor and someone that can go toe-to-toe with scourge conquerors like Henry II, so that instead of being just a passive receiver of events, which is what you have to do at the beginning of a game on the hardest possible difficulty levels, we'll instead be able to shape events ourselves. And one thing I do think it's interesting about playing at the highest difficulty level is, in a certain sense, it seems to force you to play the way that Paradox seems to want. Paradox seems to want you to start slowly, build up over time, interact with the AI, NPCs, other rulers, go on activities, do a lot of things instead of just paint the map. And the issue is, on regular settings, you don't have to do any of that. You can just immediately start the game, grab some allies, start map painting, take over kingdoms, empires, really whatever you want, so long as you're a somewhat experienced player. But here, on the hardest possible difficulty, you simply can't do that. You have to move slower, be much more considered in your decisions in terms of what you can actually win, what you can't. You can see here we have gone up against some very large armies that might not exist on our regular game settings. And so we really need to be careful about our decisions and make sure we're taking the best ones possible. Generally, that means playing more conservatively, building up slowly over time, and that's really what we're doing here to get to a place where we'll be able to effectively fight for more land, govern that land, and hopefully significantly increase our power. Even though we started in 1178, we still have well over 200 years, so there's plenty of time. It's just a matter of sort of methodically building ourselves up. I know to some extent all this might not be the most exciting viewing, but I do think it's useful, especially on these difficulty settings, to show what I'm doing and how each little step builds up to what eventually will be our successful resurrection into the ranks of powerful lords. But that has to occur step by step on these settings to see what we can do. And hopefully, playing this unedited format where I explain all my decisions, will give both new players as well as players who are considered playing on this difficulty level examples of what it looks like and what the best way is to take advantage of opportunities as they come and eventually make it back to where we want to be. I got some artifacts there, but at least for what I could tell, none of them are all that great. At least not compared to the artifacts I already have, so we will move on. Occasionally there's a woman with strong genetic traits. If we found one, we'd consider divorcing our current wife and marrying her. But there were none in that group. Just get more either men-at-arms or gold from these interactions. I better get men-at-arms. Have tons of prestige, so happy to call in these make requests on our patrons. Okay, already. Let's go on our intrigue contract here. Do wonder, it seems like we're having a harder and harder time to actually find contracts. I do wonder if it's time to move on to a different area. Maybe we'll have better luck getting contracts there. Some of our court positions here. Again, just continuing to try to improve our character. Do have some prisoners here. Looks like we can't torture people, which could potentially give us intrigue or prowess. So, a bit unfortunate. From our perspective, I guess, quite fortunate from the perspective of the people in our prison. Guess we could try to sway this guy or not. I don't think there's anything that we can do that would make him form an alliance with us. I mean, he does have a lot of troops. That would be quite helpful. Let's take another look here. If there's anything. Denmark is an interesting option in that it's obviously relatively small. It's a place where we would hold a king title and give some options to probably become a vassal of Francia or either tributary, and then see how we can expand. You can see here that Mali, who is still led by scourge-conquerors, is starting to eat into Francia's lands. Indeed, it could be that their next attack will be, in the Kingdom of France itself. So again, at the moment, it's probably fine for us to stay landless, and we'll just have to see sort of how things pan out. Where is the best place for us to get land? Where can we move to that hopefully is a bit away from these scourge conquerors, or at least we'll see them coming, and so we'll be able to take steps like becoming their tributary or becoming their vassal to prevent them from attacking us and taking our land again. Because we were the vassal of France, when we got attacked at the beginning of the game, we didn't really have any options we could do. Fortunately, this contract is going to take a very long time. If I would have known that, I probably would have passed, but we'll try to get through it as fast as we can here and move on. I guess, sure, why not? I don't know that we'll actually do anything, but we'll say that we will participate in the crusade. Typhus, which is obviously not good. Don't really want to participate in the fourth crusade event. Wife just died of typhus, and this guy in our camp has typhus. So don't know if he'll get wiped out here or not. Assume this is some quite serious, major typhus plague, so don't know that there was much we could have done. We can build the barber's tent, which would help us a bit. So I lost typhus, but not looking good for some of my daughters. Guess we could move up here where the King of England has his capital. Okay, lost one of my daughters. The other one lived. Assume there's no one who's really a good candidate to become my wife. Now that we're here, okay, let's take a look at this decision. If we're going to do this, I would actually rather be in Valois, I think. Do I have to be in a particular place? King Gilbert, okay, so that's the issue. Need to have someone of a different culture. This person is Norman. Guess we can't get a hook on him. Well, maybe let's do some more contracts for now and keep in mind, so 500 gold is the main thing we need to have to be able to take this decision. See, I very well likely have more than a level of fame on him, yes. So the question is, could I get a highborn French spouse? None of my women here are French. Doesn't look like I'd be able to get marriage that way. Did lose a lot of my knights from the typhus. Which obviously isn't good. Transport. These women happens to be a highborn French. I do wonder, well, let's check actually. I wonder what they mean by highborn. I wonder if it is explained anywhere. Highborn French spouse. I wonder if that just means noble or does it mean something above that? So we can hire this guy. Yeah, now we do need more knights. We can go hunt some criminals. Probably want to start. Clearly I should have checked her prowess first before just charging in, but I think we'll be okay here. So he does have a decent prowess. We're at 73. That seems surprisingly high. Alright, I guess it's partly because of the Knight Errant, so we should just go in. So I want to go to a temple anyway. Wonder if we go into Valois here, if when we champion the French culture, we get a claim on the Duchy of Valois. Okay, we do get that. Who are we fighting? Duchess Mary. So it's really her allies. Without her allies, we'd probably still be in a tight spot. Okay, so let's see about if we could get a highborn marriage. That would be very useful. So we'll need to keep an eye out for that. Guess we can do that. Okay, blessing of peace is what we want there. Some stress. Okay. I mean, we can really build up our armies quite a bit if we wanted to, make them much stronger. The issue is just lack of gold, really. Just take one of these travel missions and quite far, and also into plague. That's not good. I assume it's the same typhus plague as we had before, so hopefully we won't catch it again. Take some guards here to our medical equipment, so hopefully we will stay alive. This is a bit of a risk here. Also upgrade our barber's tent, but let's get the torturer's tools first. See, even though we're 54, we're in good health, so that's positive. What I would like is contract to rescue a fair maiden, which is a righteousness contract, so keep an eye out for those. Guess we'll take the piety. One other decision I do want to take is that one, but we're just a couple points of interest away. I am very surprised we do not have 60 wonder experience. We're very close, so we should be able to get those soon. Might as well get some more prestige. Okay, good luck with that. So obviously the Crusade is going in against a Scourge Conqueror. He's not Martial education character, so he's not an exalted warlord, which is the 5-star martial education. If you have someone who's a scourge conqueror and an exalted warlord, they're just extremely powerful in combat, very difficult to fight. Here, I mean, this guy's a scourge conqueror, but he is outnumbered 2 to 1. What we could do, I just don't know if there will be many opportunities for us to go down there and pick off people, pick off small armies, I should say, of the enemy. That would give us prestige and piety and everything. Could give it a try. Maybe let the crusade proceed a bit before we decide to get in there. Do need another wife. Obviously that woman was rather older. Okay, I guess that didn't work. Right, whatever. We'll proceed onwards. Do some of these martial contracts. We have had a long path ahead of us for quite a while, but hopefully we are getting closer to the end one way or another in terms of getting some land. So we'll see, hopefully we get a rescue fair maiden. Contract we can complete. Not. And we will still complete these contracts. Maybe go instruct some knights first. Don't need these expensive travel options anymore. Okay, let's take the Wonder experience, which should enable us to create an excellent book. This guy's a good knight, so we'll take him. Looking for the highest chances of success here. complete this contract. Might as well take a look at how the Crusade is going in its early stages. Help us think about whether we want to meaningfully participate. Some of the armies are split up. Looks like the Catholic forces aren't really there yet. Probably better to get the gold here. Better to get the men-at-arms there. Especially armored horsemen, very good. Here, definitely better to get the gold. So I think maybe we hold off on this because of this line here. Try to visit more points of interest, make the book even better. But we will want to complete the book one way or another before we get some land. Okay, certainly take this high level find secret scheme. Should be able to do it. Wonder if having that hook on King Gilbert will provide some significant benefit, particularly well, maybe we'll just hold off. Looks like this guy isn't going to do anything for us. Some more secrets. Are an intrigue character, so we should be good at that. Look at the Crusade. The armies seem rather far apart, though. Looks like the Christians do have, very strong force here, so maybe we will join, particularly if the Pope prods us to do so. Take more gold. Contract disappeared. Okay, I guess the person who gave it to us died, so fair enough. Probably be better to have clear notification of that, but I guess it's understandable. Do some more spycraft here. I think we'll just take this top one here for the extra intrigue. Same here, so we've got a lot more intrigue. Is there a plague? There is indeed. Let's get out of here. Where do we want to go? Could go back to our native lands of Champagne. How difficult we'll be able to take this one. It's really the alliance again. I mean, this guy is kind of old and in poor health, so we could pin him and let's go to castle holding though. Moving our camp here largely to avoid the plague. Hit a few, make sure we hit a few points of interest on the way there, since we want points of interest for that decision. This is really quite the journey. Okay. Don't see if we can speed anything up here. Okay. So hopefully we'll, get a significant number of more points of interest that will allow us to get a better result on that one. Decision where you can get a very powerful book that will give all of our heirs up to 40% plus lifestyle experience, which is just amazingly powerful. Sacre bleu. daughter and heir has typhus yet again. I'm going to accidentally maim myself, so I'll pass on that. It'd be nice if my daughter survives, but no guarantees, of course. Guess we may go down to these two, though my character was quite old and the time for massive journeys is probably done. Guess we'll just do this. King Heinrich for the gold and prestige. Usually not much for the seduction tree. I don't think it's very useful, but at this point we may need to want to become landed to quickly seduce someone and hopefully have a male child with them and try to raise that child before this character dies. Guess we'll take this guy. No inappropriate relationships. Mildly curious, I think for Dynasty Legacies they went with the fourth. Yes, they got architected ancestry. I wonder if we can tell what they picked. I guess not. Not a Dynasty Legacy I usually go for. You just go for the first three and then stop. Pick a different tree, but fortunately the Dynasty member who was in control did not do that. Plague is getting quite close to us. We're getting a good amount of gold from these contracts and the pressed interactions. I mean, looks like the enemy has quite few soldiers. I think we could increase the size of our forces a bit. Let's try to get up to 60 and then we'll complete this one. Should be able to easily refill our men. Yep. Get the righteous ones. Particularly sensible to see if we can find a good spouse now that we are unmarried. Will not be that woman. Or that one. That guy is actually a pretty good knight. Also, I think, with his genetic traits, actually will be a relatively good husband for our daughter here. Obviously, Ideally, we'd have an intelligence trait, but don't have that as an option. You know, having the other 2 traits will work. Not sure how much of the enemy army is going to be left after, looks like none basically, so whatever will help the siege and move on. Don't think we need to go to this feast. Looks like the crusade is going poorly. Not seeing any fighting at the moment. So we can do this grand tournament here. Should have paid more attention to where it was. Hopefully I don't drown crossing the channel. Probably useful. Reminder, I think we have some prisoners that we can torture for dark insights. Fine health. Either the grand tournament was canceled or something else happened. Not sure. We'll crack on. Check to see if there is these fight corruption contracts can get you a lot of gold if they don't bug out, so let's see what happens. Looks like we're going to be doing a lot of traveling. Maybe this wasn't a good idea. Home advantage because I'm probably not going to be trying to seduce my own courtiers, but instead women from outside. Speaking of that, I wonder if it's possible to okay. So I guess I won't be able to invite them to camp. One of the things I often do to get concubines is seduce them. That often will give them benefits to then come to your camp. Jesus, this is going to be quite the travel. So you can get concubines that way. You know, using seduction schemes are very useful, but does not seem it will work for a landless adventure, unfortunately. This crusade continues to go poorly, it looks like. You can see the main Muslim army there. Hopefully this contract does not bug out. result in me not making any gold, because that would be very sad after doing all this traveling. See, the Crusaders are just lost in battles and are losing even more battles. Yeah, just getting stacked wipe over and over. So I don't think we'll be participating in any crusade. Okay, so that was good to get that gold. Can disband our troops. At least that was a short journey there. Risky, but worked out. Don't think we have. Yeah. Don't think we need any of those buildings. Let's see if we can do something further increases our knight effectiveness here. If I had any stress, I would pick one of the options that reduce that stress, but I don't, so be crossing another plague zone and just a massive journey again. Whenever I get done with this, I want to go to a temple. Make sure I have the life expectancy increase bonus. Guess the main Muslim force over here, just looking at the Crusade again. Looks like the Muslims are stack wiping, or at least defeating the Christians, maybe, maybe not. This is a post-battle. No, it's going the way of the defenders. Yeah, they have a. So you can see the scourge-of-the-gods conqueror is leading Muslim forces. You can see Scourge-of-the-gods plus 25, so just a huge advantage for him. You can also see very hard plus 10. That's what the AI gets for leading its own troops on very hard. But both sides here have that. So yeah, it goes to why fighting Scourge Conquerors is so powerful. So difficult to do. Man, this is the third time in her life she's had typhus. If anyone could build some immunity to it, it would be her. Guess we'll go with that to increase our knight effectiveness. Try to become a bit stronger when we do finally get some land here, hopefully soon. Our daughter survives typhus for the third time. Fill in some court positions here. Seems like we got some more prisoners somehow. See if we can get any dark insights out of them. Okay, I guess we did get the gold from that contract, which is good. Looks like the Duchy of Valois that we were eyeing before is sort of broken up. Okay. So is that guy French? Oh, he is. So he won't be able to champion the French culture here, which is something that would, give us a claim and allow us to take some land. I'm still concerned about Mali down here. I kind of feel like Denmark, might be the place to be. We can become a vassal of Francia and start expanding within it, but we'll be quite far away from Mali. We'll be holding a relatively small kingdom that they're less likely to attack. They'll be going after Germany, Bavaria, and so forth first. And so I think we'll keep our eye on Denmark. Wonder if we could actually use our abilities and murder him. And also, the Duchy of Valois is now held by this guy who is not very powerful, and I think we could probably take him. Let's wait until this plague clears up, and then we'll move over to Valois. Get this castle holding, and I talked about I wanted to go to a temple, so I'll do that next. Increase the size of our regiments. I think normally I only use one regiment of siege equipment, but I think since this is a intrigue character, not martial, we'll be better off with more. I do think we are really getting closer here. Hopefully by the end of this episode. It has been running quite a while actually. But maybe we'll go a little bit longer, see if we can get some land finally. And if not at the end of this episode, then hopefully at the beginning of the next one. a good amount of gold. Let's take it. It's a pretty long travel, but it's okay. I think maybe we're good with where we are in terms of our camp. I do think we are going to be becoming landed soon. Of course, I forgot to go to the temple, which I will need to do when I get back. I really do want that buff. Just specifically, you go to the temple, you can get a buff called Praying for Peace that has a number of positive effects, but most significant, what I'm thinking about is the effect of increasing your lifespan. Let's see if we can hit 3 more points of interest somehow. So that should do it for getting a very powerful book, which will really strengthen our heirs. So I think what I'll do here is go to the temple, because I really want to do that. Then we'll call this episode. And then I think the plan is going to be to go to Valois, take that duchy, take back our original lands of Champagne, which I still have a claim on, and then we will go from there. I absolutely do want to make sure that I go to a temple. Take this decision. We're missing 1 point of interest, so we'll get that somewhere before we take it. Have to train for tournament. Getting strong would actually be helpful, I think, but we didn't get it. So here's Blessing of Peace. Increased life expectancy for 15 years. Also get medium health boost, which is good. And having her be our personal physician makes sense, actually. Some stress. I guess there's one other decision. How close are we? Probably not close enough to do this one. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of nice, though. I mean, this one obviously has more of benefits if you remain an adventurer, which we are not going to be doing. Okay, so I think that's it for now. Again, thanks very much for joining. I know to me that landless play is not the most exciting part of the game, but I hope through discussion I've at least made it interesting, at least tolerable for you. On the next episode, I think it is virtually certain that we will be obtaining some land, becoming landed again, and then we'll go from there in terms of trying to rebuild our power and moving forward. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope you join again for the next episode. Goodbye.